All right, this is unit number 8, which is on radicals. This is for Algebra 1. This is the review for your test. You can see I have a list of test topics here. Reducing radicals was section 9.2. You use that throughout the rest of the unit. Section 12.2 covered adding, subtracting, and multiplying and dividing radicals. Adding and subtracting, the key to remember is you are only allowed to add and subtract radicals if they are exactly the same underneath. So square root of 5 with square root of 5, or root 3 with root 3, not root 3 with root 5. So you first have to reduce in order to bring them together. Section 12.2 also had multiplying and dividing. Multiplying, you either distribute or you FOIL, and dividing, you have to reduce the fraction. You can't have a fraction underneath the radical. You can't have a radical on the bottom of a fraction. So mostly you multiply the bottom. Multiply by the bottom on both top and bottom. We also are going to cover section 12.3, which is solving radicals, and section 12.5, which is the Pythagorean theorem. So when you solve radicals, section 12.3, you have to get the x alones. If it's an x squared, you're going to have 2 answers, and you have to check to see if you have any answers that don't work out by plugging them back in. That normally happens when there's a negative. In section 12.5, you have the Pythagorean theorem. You can use that 2 different ways. One, by determining what the missing side is for a right triangle, and the last is, if I give you 3 sides, determining what the actual, or whether it is actually a right triangle or not. So this is the homework that I assigned, page 7 to 66, 4 to 8, 10 to 12, 16 to 18. I'll do the videos in those sections, so the first one's going to cover 4 through 8. So number 4 here, we have the square root of 5 plus 2 root 5 minus root 3. So for these problems, we are adding together any like terms. I have 1 root 5 plus 2 root 5, so 1 root 5 plus 2 root 5, and that's going to give me a 3 root 5. And then the minus root 3. The root 3 cannot be combined with the 3 root 5 because that is not the same underneath the radical. So that would be my final answer. Number 5, you have to take this root 6 and distribute it through to both the 2 root 3 and the 4 root 2. When you do so, you have 2 root 18 minus 4 root 12. And now we try to reduce both of those to see if we can combine together. So the 18 is going to break down into a 9 and a 2. The 9 is going to break down further into a 3 and a 3. Whenever we have a pair, that's what we take out. So I can take that 3 out. So that 3 is going to come out with that 2 that was already outside. So this 2 and that 3 become a 6. I have this 2 left on the inside. So my answer here for the reducing is 6 root 2. So I'll rewrite this over here, 6 root 2. All right, now minus, I have to reduce my 4 root 12. So 4 root 12, the 12 can break down into a 4 times a 3, the 4 into a 2 and a 2. Again, I have a pair of 2's, take that 2 out with the 4 that was already out there. That's a total of 8. I'm left with this 3 on the inside, so that's 8 root 3. So 6 root 2 minus 8 root 3, and I'm finished at that point because the number under the radical is not the same. Number 6 and 7 are very identical. We both have a binomial that is squared, so we have to FOIL this. So it's 3 minus root 10. I'm going to rewrite it. It's 3 minus root 10 right next to it, and we FOIL this. So 3 times 3 gives me 9. 3 times negative root 10 is a minus 3 root 10. Negative root 10 times 3 is again a negative 3 root 10. Be careful, they're both negative. They do not cancel out. And then negative root 10 times negative root 10 is a positive. We had trouble with that on our quiz. It's not a negative, it's a positive square root of 100, not just 100. From here now we can do 9 minus 3 root 10. 3 root 10 gives me minus 6 root 10. And then square root of 100 is just 10. Again, that's one of those ones you should know. Combine like terms now, 9 and 10 give me a total of 19 minus 6 root 10. I cannot combine together the 19 and the 6 root 10 because the 6 has the root 10 on it. So that one is finished. Number 7, again, we're going to rewrite this one out. This is going to be the square root of 8 plus the square root of 3 times by the square root of 8 plus the square root of 3. So when I do that, root 8 times root 8 is going to give me the square root of 64. Root 8 times 3 is going to give me the square root of 24. Root 3 times root 8 is again a square root of 24. And then finally, the root 3 times root 3 is going to give me the square root of 9. So when I try to break this down, square root of 64 is 8. This is going to be plus 2 root 24. Square root of 9 comes out as 3, so plus 3. So I can combine my 8 and 3 to be an 11. Plus, now I have to, this one's a little more complicated than number 6. I have to try to break down that 24. And in theory, I should have tried to break down the 10 over here in number 6 as well. But that 10 did not break down. That 10 it goes to a 2 and a 5. There's no pair there. 24, there is a pair. So this 24, if I break that down, that's going to be a 4 and a 6. From the 4, I can get a 2 and a 2. The 6 is just going to be a 2 and a 3. There's no pair there, so that's going to stay. So this is going to come out as a 2 coming out with the 2 that was already out there. So I have a 2 and a 2. That's a total of a 4. The 6 stays on the inside, so 4 root 6. So the answer there is 11 plus 4 root 6.